adjusted a bit. There. Cryo, how's it going? How's your carving going? Seeing all the fun ink stuff you were doing today, I was like, man, I should get back to some inks. I love ink. Even though half the time I basically just use like watercolor, but you know, whatever. The inky side, dark inky side, I can dig it. I mean, you know, I don't know if... I'm assuming you have to really pay attention, I guess, when you're carving, huh? Because you really don't want to make a mistake with it. Okay. Watercolor is fun. You know, I found the trick with watercolor is kind of just have to give yourself permission to like do whatever. Because I did some watercolor classes in art school, and they tended to kind of be like, this is how you're supposed to use watercolor. And it took a while to kind of get out of that and just say, you know what, I'm going to use it however I want. Especially when I saw people whose work I loved using watercolor in like ways that I was taught you're not supposed to use it, you know. So that's when I was like, oh, okay. So it's basically like any other medium, just learn what it can and can't do, and then do whatever the hell you want with it. Right. And that's where, you know, I think I use ink in a similar way where I'm just like, meh. You know, it's like I actually intentionally try not to be too precise with it. Especially because with this particular piece, I know I'm going to bring water in and obliterate half the lines. And then I'll go back in, you know, once that dries and kind of finesse them. But for now, warming up. I agree. And by the way, anyone wondering, I'm just using water on this. This is not waterproof ink. As you can see, you add water and the ink just explodes. So that's why I say I'm basically just using it like watercolor. I have some other, like in this pen, not to be confused with this pen. I have more waterproof ink if I want to go that way, but not right now. I always feel like I'm the type of artist that just sort of works in phases. Meaning, like, where I'll just kind of attack certain mediums for a while, you know, especially if it's something I just haven't done in a bit, and usually that change, like switching up mediums, kind of inspires me to just kind of keep doing stuff and keep doodling and keep having fun with shit. And, so, you know, I definitely want to keep the oil paints going, but right now I kind of felt like something a little less, I don't know, serious. Something I don't have to think about as much. Oh, I was saying that I'm one of those artists that tends to just like kind of use things in phases, you know, where I'll just go through this phase of like, oh, I'm just gonna do a bunch of pencils, or you know, a bunch of inks, or I'm gonna do watercolors, or I'm gonna do a bunch of digital, and what happens is I'll go through them, and by the time I cycle back through, I'm like, wow, I haven't done inks in a while, so like, I'm gonna do some inks, you know. I want to keep the oil paints going for sure, because that's something kind of long term I really want to ramp up on, and you know, get better and hopefully do something with those eventually. I don't know what yet, but yeah, it makes you fall in love with it again. And also sometimes if I do too much in just one medium, I get really bored, and then I kind of think, oh man, now I don't really feel like whatever, drawing or painting or whatever the hell I'm doing. And so usually it just takes kind of like switching up the medium for me to kind of get inspired again. You know, and often I'll kind of look through artists that typically do inspire me, you know, and a lot of times I'll be able to see like, oh, I think I feel like doing this because those are the artists right now that are really like, you know, speaking to me. So yeah, so you know, I don't personally, I don't go through a lot of like artist block. Once in a while it'll hit me, and then it's usually just for about a week, luckily. But usually it's just because I haven't quite found what medium is like speaking to me at that time, you know. But sometimes it also takes me a few days to realize that, like, oh, you know what? I might just be kind of sick of what I've been doing for the last however many weeks or months, you know. It usually takes a couple days for that to sink in, even though I should know by now. But it's like 2 days out of the year I will get allergies, right? Like once in the spring and kind of once in the fall, basically when the Santa Anas kick in and we have this wind blowing all this stuff, you know, in from the east, in from the deserts and up off the streets and shit. And every time I think, oh my god, am I getting sick? And then the next day I feel fine. I'm like, oh, allergies. I always forget about those damn things. By the way, with this pen, I tend to use it a lot on the backside because I can do finer lines that way. But if I want to get any kind of flex in the nib, then I'll use it on this side, right? To get some heavier lines. But what I will also tend to do is I will have the same ink in a brush pen. So if I want to get really heavy lines, I'll just break out the brush pen. That tends to be my MO. Because I love brush pens. It's hard to beat the line quality of a good brush, I have to say. Thank you, God. So yeah, a lot of times I'll just use the brush pen for more like accent darks. And kind of keep my thin lines, because I love those things. It's gotten to the point where I feel like sometimes a sketch or drawing isn't finished until I get some really like fine lines in there. I don't know why. What does it say? What is it? Johnson. The blues guy that sang all the songs about the hellhounds. Wow. I got your back, Cryo. I believe in you. Come on, if there's anyone worth arguing with, I think we've all got a little bit of beef on that front. So this pen, sometimes you can catch the nib. That's where my little came from. I don't mind that though. I really don't. There are times that I'll do it intentionally, right? Try and get some splatters because it's just fun. And I like the texture. Of course, I have to be careful not to like splatter on my shirt. Although it's water-soluble ink, not a big deal. Yeah, at this point, it's out of habit because, one, I do so much digital stuff for work, and I need it because the Cintiq screen heats up, and your hand starts to stick to the screen if you don't have the glove on. And then I do a lot of pencil work, so it kind of protects against smudging in that regard. And then I just got so used to wearing it that now it feels weird not to. Like, it feels very strange for me to draw with my bare hand on the paper now. I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this feeling. Switch over. So I have different inks and different pens. One of my favorites is, they're both Diamine fountain pen ink. This one is the Onyx Black. This is the Ancient Copper, which is like one of my favorites. And let's switch it up from the... I know I was trying to like give myself a little bit more room here, but I might put this at a little less of an angle for y'all. I think I can manage. We think. Do I order the pens or the inks? The inks you can order online. Where are they? Here they are. Grab the 3 inks that I am using. I've got the Ancient Copper. Right, let's so we've got Ancient Copper. You can see Diamine inks. I think you can actually just get them on Amazon, to be honest. I might have gotten them on Jet Pens, but it kind of depends on who has them. Then there's Onyx Black. And then for the waterproof ink, I like the Platinum Carbon. what I love about this one is that it's waterproof, but it's a fountain pen ink, so it has really nice flow to it. Like India ink, I would never put in a fountain pen or a brush pen unless it was like a really cheap brush pen. And then maybe, but only if I had diluted it a bit with water, because India ink dries in your fountain pen or brush pen, and good luck. Fountain pen you might be able to clean. What was that? What was that? I heard an alert, but I didn't see the alert. Yeah, you don't want to let your India inks dry. But, so that's what's cool, is the fountain pen, it has a lot more flow in it, and I've never had it dry in a pen. Oh, I got hosted. That's weird. Did I just miss the alert? Was I just blabbing on? Who hosted? Who hosted? Oh, Cryo, thanks for the host. That's weird. Why didn't it didn't say it anywhere for me? I could have gone this entire time and never known who hosted. Thank you. We're gonna switch over to like a more fantasy thing. I'm gonna kind of doodle for a bit and then see if I feel like doing something that's a little more like, I don't know, clean and line worky. We'll see. We will see. So, just FYI, I basically have a brush pen to go with each fountain pen, like same kind of ink in each one. So that's kind of, you'll see me break out different brush pens depending on what I'm doing. Oh shit, sorry. I should probably focus that again. Huh, there we go. You know, these are also pens that I've kind of like collected over time. I won't lie, the fountain pens are expensive, but I'm such a snob with my fountain pens. And these are pens that if I take care of them, they will last me my entire life. Like, they're not going anywhere. So something like that, if you can, I think is worth it. You know, who is it that says buy it nice or buy it twice? I forget. I saw that somewhere on YouTube. It was clever. It's cute. Buy once, cry once. So one thing I like with these water soluble inks is I can almost do like the I can essentially do like a rough sketch and then bring the water in, turn it all into lighting, and then go back through and, you know, clean up lines if I want to. So I don't know. It's kind of fun. It's forgiving in its own way. Obviously, you can't go too crazy. You know, there is a point of no return. But at least, like, it is something that I can kind of have fun with without putting a ton of pressure on myself. And especially because as artists, I think we all love to see a certain amount of process in an image, especially in a sketch. I think we all appreciate that. And of course, me being a sketch artist by trade, I love sketches. I love rough sketches. You know, and anytime I find artists that I just, whose work I just really love, I always try and find what their sketches look like, because I'm always curious. I want to know what, you know, what is their thought process? How are they doing what they do? Inquiring minds want to know, right? Give her a little. And I'll use these for thumbnailing a whole lot as well. Yep. We are. I think Autumn is working on some. He might be lurking. Not sure. But I think he might be also kind of. I know this is his like productive time, so he might be working on some shit. Yeah, playing around with a little more cyber elf ninjas. I don't know if I have. Do I have them in here? I feel like I do. Somewhere. But I don't know where. There are girls. They're cyber elves. Alright. To make sure that I can actually show, because my sketchbooks are not always safe for stream. Cyber elf ninjas! Look, they even said it right there. Cyber elf ninjas. Different one though. This is I. There's another one. So I have three of them, right? We've got I, Quinn, and Manga. So manganese blue, quinacridone magenta, and Indian yellow. Yeah. Let's make sure I don't show shit that'll like get me in trouble. I have a lot of get me in trouble stuff. Yeah, no, Cryo, I feel you. That was me yesterday. I meant to stream yesterday, but I was operating off of like 4 hours of sleep, and I couldn't do it. So, you gotta take a nap, you go take a nap. So I'll also use this stuff to thumbnail. I find I rarely thumbnail in pencil anymore. It's kind of weird. I do almost all my thumbnailing in ink. For better or worse, I don't know. You know, if you do kind of mess something up, you gotta kind of do the entire thing over again, but I don't know. Then you change some things and, you know, learn some things, and I don't know. I dig it. I like it. Anything I can do to give myself a little more mileage, right? And again, just bringing in water and yeah, it's fun. I don't know. Partly because I am a fan of watercolor, and it just you know, whether it's inks or watercolors, you just get those watermarks that you can't really get any other way, and I am such a sucker for those. Speaking of water, thank you, Z Moody. And again, I often will try to not be overly precise, mostly because, like, when I was younger, you know, I would see people do inks and I thought it was so cool. And I remember even a couple times going to the comic shop when they had all right, Cryo, you take care. You get some rest. Z Moody, I'm doing well. How are you doing? And thank you for the posture check. And I'm gonna stretch while I'm at it. I probably should have set this up on like a easel, but sometimes it just feels too formal for me. I want to make sure she's focused, by the way. And I just felt like being a little more casual today. But yeah, so there were a couple times as a kid, you know, we'd go to the comic store when they'd have like a professional artist there sketching and signing and whatever, and I just thought like it was so cool, but every time I tried to ink, I would get so bored. You know, and that's just kind of how I work. So a lot of times even if I do pencils first, my pencils are super rough. Like, I have to give myself some room to figure some things out and possibly, fuck some things up with the inks. Otherwise, yeah, I get so bored with it. But I see some of those comic guys that just figure out everything in pencils first, and then they do the same thing again with the inks. I'm just like, damn, dude, so patient. I'm not that patient. Yo, Archer Kel! How's it going, brother? Just doodling. Yeah, we're kind of playing around with some different things. I'll be doing a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of cyber elves. Kind of slowly inching toward maybe another kind of shirt design. Because I love how this one turned out, right? And with that ink drawing, I just think it just is so cool. So I really want to do another one that really features an ink drawing. I just have no idea what the hell it's gonna be. And maybe we'll figure it out tonight, maybe we won't. But I figure at the very least I can just sketch around and maybe get some ideas going. And then maybe, something will come to us. Awesome. I won't say anything about you wearing a me shirt yesterday. Uh-oh, Jay-Z is wearing Autumn Rain. Autumn Rain, a new fragrance by Arthur Kemp. Nah, that's fair, dude. It has been nice and cool. Thankfully. Ugh. But yeah, so I do have that one shirt, right, with Quinn on it, with a kind of earlier design of Quinn, which I'm considering maybe doing just an ink version of that drawing and just putting out as like an alt version of it, which could be fun. I think. Maybe. Where's my brush pen? So like I said, I will tend to have a brush pen that has the same ink as whatever fountain pen I'm using. Just so that they, play nice together and I can get some heavier darks in there if I want to with the brush pen. Although I think this one still had the tiniest little bit of black ink in there, so this ink is just a little more brown. But that's okay. No biggie. Close enough. Good enough for government work. Thank you, Hugh M. Quinn. Oh. Yeah, I spell her name Quin. Which, how do you spell the actual name of Quinn? I'm abbreviating quinacridone magenta, so I'm just like cutting off the rest of that mouthful. And I don't know if I want this page to feel quite so empty, but that's okay. We'll move on to the next page. Move on. I'm working double-sided, so I'm just flipping this over. Right, we got these girls here. And where did that go? Come back. Don't leave us, sketchbook. These two, this is my favorite fountain pen, but these two are filled with waterproof ink, so not quite what I'm gonna move to just yet. Let's see here. Yeah, but there's no other way to like get the, the right marks, and I will sometimes use the water soluble ink and the waterproof ink on the same image. So like I'm not going to sit there and change the ink every single time. So I need multiples. I need them. And since these are cyber elves, I tend to... Hey, thanks, Alex. Appreciate that. I tend to kind of not, do actual ear anatomy with them. Because my idea is that they are cybernetic, so there are organic aspects, but they also have a lot of enhanced bits, especially if they're like spies, essentially, right? So like their ears, so their hearing and all that shit. big. We'll bring a little bit of water in here, why not? The water doesn't affect the brush pen as much because the brush pen, the way it lays down the ink, it tends to soak a little more into the paper, I think. So obviously it still picks up because this ink is completely water soluble, but I've noticed that with a fountain pen, the ink tends to sit on top of the paper more. So there have been times that I think I'm going to get a lot more ink out of the brush pen than I end up getting. Which is fine, whatever. This isn't about being super precise anyway. Yeah, I literally, I know nothing about that game, other than that I probably have no desire to actually play it. Like, I have no idea, I don't know what it's about, I'm like, cool, you know, cyberpunk, like, a topic that's been around for many, many years. And to be honest, I don't really care about Keanu. I wish him all the best, but the graphics look amazing, but I don't. Nice. Hey, that's awesome, Jay-Z. You know, any little bit of family we can get, right now, I think is a good thing. Okay, I need to, hang on. Where's my clip? Because no one likes paper bowing too much, so that's where our bulldog clips come in handy. Jesus, Nightbot. You're just going at it, huh? All right, on. What, Alex, what kind of models do you build? Oh, that was you. Sorry, dude, I didn't see that. Thanks, man. Oh, cool. Right on. I remember some years back, I almost got like one of those crazy model ships because I love pirates. You know, I was like, oh, that'd be cool. Like, I'd learn a bit about this construction of these ships. And I'm like, yeah, because I have that kind of time, right? Those crazy people that spend like years building like one ship. And then the dog just ruins it because they're chasing a squirrel that somehow got inside the house. No. Man, I haven't like built a model. I don't know how long. Yeah, join the Discord. I'm just checking to see if it's like how clear it is, you know. Image, and it's hard to tell. Not bad. It's not bad. Alright, so while this pen is waterproof, what I like is that I can, or the ink in it is waterproof, I should say. I can draw much smaller, although, you know what? We're not going to draw really small. Stuff gets small enough as it is. So, it's okay. So, yeah, I want to figure out, okay, what might I want to do on a t-shirt sort of design. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of thumbnailing, knowing that I have like a 16 by 12, I think, spot. And I'm not opposed to something asymmetrical, you know. So I had considered something where she might be like sitting kind of across the bottom, which could be kind of fun. Cat videos. Hey, thanks, Alex. Yeah, I'll actually be back. I think I'll be back on tomorrow night as well. Normally, I stream Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, though I think I might try and change it to Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've noticed Mondays are sometimes a struggle for me. but we'll see. Normally, I'm on Mondays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Pacific. But this week, I will be on... yeah, tonight and tomorrow night, since, you know, Thursday, Thanksgiving, all that. So yeah, if I don't see you tomorrow, hopefully I'll see you next week. Thank you for popping by. Have to make her head just a little bigger. So with this, obviously I can make things bigger, but it's rather difficult to make them smaller. But I also would like to, at some point, do an actual illustration again. Might be kind of fun if maybe we had a little bit of something under her, just a hint at her leg kind of going off the frame a little more. I think that could be fun. And then likewise, we'd probably want, ideally, maybe the whatever image we have is kind of goes to here, but the end of the print, maybe we can have a bit of her foot. Something like that. That might get a little too clever, and I don't like to try and get too clever if I can help it. Thanks again, Alex. Much, much appreciated. Right, if you're gonna get clever, don't let anyone catch you at it. So let's do. So sometimes I'll just scribble this stuff in, right, knowing that I'm going to bring water into it, and all these messy, gnarly lines will get demolished. So I don't have to worry about how clean it is at this stage, right? It doesn't really matter. Unless I want an area to be really clean, and then I have to just kind of like not put any lines there, right? I can always pick up some ink with a brush in the water if I want to add something in. But for this, you know, it's just a little thumb, and this kind of stuff is more about silhouette anyway at this stage. So really have to worry about too much of the internal detail unless I just really want to. So when I want to get these form shadows, the soft shadows, that's where, you know, I'll just bring water in first and then work my way to the ink so that it bleeds out and gives it a nice soft form shadow, you know? Quick little deal. Jay-Z, do it. Apparently you can go to Popeyes this year and get Thanksgiving food. So, you know, there's that. I just, with this, I have no idea what I would put here. I feel like I would put something. I wouldn't just have it blank. I just have no clue what it would be. If it would just be, I don't know. I would need something, because if I was gonna do this as a line drawing, which I know it's kind of silly to get into all this value if it's mostly gonna be a line drawing, then I would need something for that to, pop against. Whether it was just a flat graphic something or other, or something more defined, I wouldn't be opposed to, like, even some kind of a cityscape that was a little more defined, painted up or something. It could be kind of cool. Have just that nice stark line work popped out against like a city. I wouldn't hate that. I'm just trying to think of something that has like nice silhouette, and I don't know if, I mean, I kind of like the whole sort of pensive thing, right? It goes kind of in line with her. So I don't, I'm not opposed to it. Damn, not even cat food, huh? It just tastes like cat shit. That sucks. Okay. Or would we want to have her facing the other way? Again, this is not waterproof, so sometimes what I'll do is I'll do a little sketch in this because I can get such fine lines with this. I fucking love this pen. And then I'll bring in something that I can mix with water, to get some values in there. But then my little sketch will still be in place. Okay, now this clip is gonna bother me on this side. Whoa. But we can put it up here. I also love that this pen is like kind of scratchy. It's one of my favorite things with with like steel nib pens, is that scratch. Love. I always do this when I'm sketching, then I'm like, whoa, arm way too long. Bring that wrist back. And actually, she doesn't have, I don't think I actually have her with a curved katana. Hello! Unwisha. I am sometimes, you know, like you get the slightest little disturbance and you're like, oh my god, I can't draw. I couldn't possibly. It's what happens when you're a finely tuned artistic machine. But he's spitting the cooler. Art Rich Studio, how you doing? It's been a minute. Been a minute. We are playing with our cyber elves a little bit. Just doodling today for the most part. We'll see if I get into something, you know, a little more serious. I might not. I ain't sure. Okay, let's add a little bit of water-soluble ink here so that we can, you know, kind of have some fun with the lighting. Finish your sentences, Daniel. Finish them. Uh-oh. No one fall for it. No one fall for it. Martist, how you doing? Autumn with the band. Yes. Now I need some kind of a band thing for Archer Kell. Bottom just doesn't have the same sound though. Art slap. I can dig that. Cthulhu and Luke. I am using, well, it depends. So let's do this real quick. Two different fountain pens here, both Falcon nibs, both by Pilot. But this one is the Pilot Elabo, and this is the Pilot Custom 912. Both of them I had modified by nibs.com. John Modishaw there is a genius, and he does amazing work. And it's not cheap, but it's worth it because they will last your entire life. So what I had this one modified so that it has a lot more flex and just gets basically, you know, much finer lines. I mean, I can just get the finest lines with this, but I can also, you know, it has a lot of flex to it, which is great. I also love this pen because I can turn it over and get some nice organic kind of heavy marks if I want. Love that. Love that. And this one is filled with platinum carbon ink, right? It's a fountain pen ink, but it's waterproof, which is awesome. So it's not going to fuck up your fountain pen. Fantastic. We love that. This is the Custom 912. It doesn't get as fine of lines, but it can still get very fine lines, especially if you turn it over on the back. It can get pretty fine. Let's get some ink in there. Also has a lot of flex to it. Of course, if you go too fast, that's where you get these fun kind of loopy things, which, you know, could be used to your advantage. But this one I have filled with Diamine Onyx Black, which is not waterproof, not in the slightest. So that's what I've used for this. This is all done with the Diamine Onyx Black. And which is what I'm putting in here, just as accents basically. So I'll bring in some water, just with a brush and water. Nothing crazy. And then I can kind of get into a little bit of the kind of shading and stuff. The lighting, I should say. So that's why I'm not going to worry as much about super clean lines right now, right? Because I'm actually wanting a bit of kind of organicness in here. But yeah, I mean, you check out nibs.com, and I mean, they have some ridiculous pens, you know, but if you stick with the Pilot Falcon pens, you know, I'm not going to say they're affordable, but like I said, they will last you your whole life. And so that's where I'm like, okay, $300 for a pen that's going to last me my entire life. I'm okay with that. Of course, I have 3 of them, but, you know, I'm just I'm a pen nut, you know? To me, it's worth it because, and anything, the other side is, anything that makes me want to pick it up and use it is worth it. You know, like, what's the point of buying a cheaper pen if I don't enjoy using it? And I've done that. I've bought cheap pens because they were cheap and affordable, and then like I just never used them because, you know, a lot of times they weren't made as well, so then you're kind of battling against them sometimes, and that's not worth it. That's a waste of money, because then it'll just sit there in your pen drawer with 200 other pens. You know, that you almost never use, when you could have just bought a couple of really nice ones that you will use all the time. Live and learn, right? Live and learn. Plus, then when you see fountain pens on nibs.com that are like $8,000, you're like, $300 isn't that bad. I do use a dip pen, actually. No, it's okay. Totally a fair question. And I'm glad you actually said that, because you don't have to go with a super expensive fountain pen. You know, the reason that I did is because, one, I like things that are kind of quick and convenient to use. So I know that I can bring my fountain pen, a water brush pen, right, which I have somewhere. Hang on. Right, so I can bring a fountain pen and just a water pen, which is just a brush, a shitty nylon brush pen with water in it, and my sketchbook, and I can do stuff like this, you know, which is awesome, and it's great. But at the same time, because I love the flex in the nib, right, getting that flexible nib. But you don't have to spend all that money, obviously, if you want that. You could spend a couple of dollars on a Galat 303 nib, put it in a nib holder. Of course, I do have a custom Curly Koa nib holder, but you don't have to. Just use a normal-ass speedball nib holder if you want. A Galat 303 nib has tons of flex. I mean, you see that. Look at my fingers. I'm barely pushing down on this thing, and you get beautiful flex. I love these nibs. You can get super fine lines with these also. So, you know, highly recommend that. Whoa, thanks for the sub. Thank Archer Kell for gifting you a sub. Yeah, so then I was gonna say, or the G-nib. You know, especially if you have a heavier hand, the G-nib is so nice. And you can still get tons of flex, but it won't go as fine as the 303, which is why I prefer the 303. But the G-nib is fantastic, super easy to acquire, cheap, reliable. You know, like an old Honda. So, yeah. 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 And then the other thing, I don't know if I want to maybe do... Because I tend to use her the most, Quinn. But I do like the other two as well, and especially I with her big Lennons on, and her. Trying to think. I think she just has her hair pulled back, right? What did I do? What did I draw for her? I feel like she has some kind of bangs going on. Somewhere. Where are they? Where are my girls at? Where are my girls at? Or did I just give her the side ponytail? I think I just gave her the side ponytail. No bangs. She's full on 80s. She's got her, like, cropped windbreaker and side ponytail and then some big Lennons on. Quinn just has kind of like a vest. Manga has more sports attire. Yeah, those parallel pens are fun. I dig that. I haven't used that thing in a long time, but I do like them a lot. So yeah, she just has a side tail. Okay, I can dig it. I can dig it. Currently, I'm using a couple of different Pilot fountain pens. Marine Bio Artist. This is the Pilot Ilabo or Pilot Namiki, depending on where you look which country you're in. But I have a modified nib on this one. So it's not your typical one, though the usual one does have some flex, which I'll show you guys real quick. I mean, not compared to this. With this modified nib, this thing has a ton of flex, and it's soft, and I absolutely love it. This one is unmodified, and it doesn't get as much flex, and I have to push a lot harder to get the flex. It's still great, though. I mean, $160 cheaper than this one with the modifications, so it could be worth it. It's still fantastic. I still love this pen. And this is like straight out of the box. I just filled it with Diamine, in this case, Diamine Ancient Copper ink, which is this one, right? So that's the Ancient Copper. I love this one. I love that color. Not waterproof. Not waterproof. So, yeah. Yeah. This one is filled with the Platinum Carbon fountain pen ink, which is waterproof. Once it dries, if you need to let it dry a little bit, otherwise not so waterproof, but fairly waterproof. So I do like Eye with her big Lenins. A little different face shape on her. She's got her big kind of 80s hair, which I pretty much just changed the side that the tail is on based on what looks good in that image. Which artists are currently on my radar? That's a tough one. I am kind of always looking at different artists. Honestly, lately, I've mostly just been studying like the older masters, not like classical or anything. Maybe more. Mostly studying actually a lot of painters, but many of them were very good draftsmen as well. But because I've been a little more in oil painting mode, I just wasn't up for it tonight. Wanted something that I didn't have to think about quite as much. So, I've been looking at a lot of Harvey Dunn, Dean Cornwell, Howard Pyle, and then even some of the realists, because they kind of, cross over. Sargent, obviously always Sargent for mark making, but then getting back toward the realists and pre-Raphaelites, Jules Sebastian Lepage is always one of my favorites. John William Waterhouse, Sir Lawrence Alma Tadema. But like if I were to look at specifically like draftsmen, I think it kind of depends stylistically what I'm in the mood for. You know, you could go back again. Alphonse Mucha, I mean, you can never go wrong with him. Hal Foster, you know, his Prince Valiant comics, especially if you can look at some of the originals, meaning like find some scans or photos of his originals online, and you can really see the penmanship and the brushwork in his stuff. And I mean, they're beautiful. They're really beautiful. But I mean, you know, that's not to say there aren't great contemporary artists too. I just try not to delve too deep into them because, you know, they're current, they're working, they have their own look, and I tend to be a little bit of a sponge when I'm looking at stuff, and so I try not to absorb contemporaries as much as I can. You know, because we're all working, we're all kind of trying to do a bit of our own thing. So, you know, I like to give everyone as much space as I can. And at the same time, of course, so many of us have very similar influences. So, you know, there's almost like you almost can't really get away from it, but whatever. Whatevs, right? Before I bring brush pen in, I'm gonna just do a little bit of So again, I switched my pen over to one that has water soluble ink in it. Yeah, just helps with some of the value grouping and stuff like that. Oh, Franklin Booth was so amazing. I mean, I do not have the patience for that, but I am so very glad that he did. Because, yeah, I love his stuff. But, you know, as far as like contemporaries go, I mean, hands down, one of my favorites would be Sean Murphy, right? I mean, his inks, you can see he just like thinks in ink. He's so good. And then who's the guy who kind of took over doing the Harley Quinn book based on White Knight? Is it Matteo Scalera that's doing that? I think. And I mean, his stuff is fantastic as well, and so great at like having his own look and yet a style that goes so well with Murphy's. Super cool. So I'm going to bring a brush pen into this. That's why I'm like not afraid of kind of some of these lines getting a little lost in there. Yes, he is. The other thing sometimes to pay attention to is just the consistency of the ink. So typically the ink that will come with the brush pens is a little closer to Sumi ink. It's a little thicker. It's like it doesn't quite flow out as much. The diamine inks are super thin. These things flow out like crazy. So that's something to be aware of. The platinum carbon, I feel like, sits somewhere between Sumi ink and the fountain pen, the diamine inks. And I love it because I can get, so this is the platinum carbon. And what I like with this one is that I can get these kinds of marks, right? Whereas with the diamine, I still can, but not always. Like, it's actually a bit harder. You have to move like pretty fast with this, because once the ink starts flowing, it's like it's a very wet ink in comparison to this one, which is a little thicker, a little drier, which I like a lot with inks. I like to be able to get some texture here and there. Or at least, have the option to. I like my options, as you can see with my 3 different fountain pens and 3 different brush pens. Yeah, part of what it is it's so much easier to stream digital. Like, if you have a computer, you can pretty much stream digital. Whereas, for traditional, you need a little bulkier of a setup, I guess you could say. I'm just using my phone, but here, but it's trickier. You need more stuff if you're gonna stream traditional. I'm gonna see if I can see if this will annoy me or not. Trying to get a little more head on so it's not as skewed for you guys, but it's a tough one. I've gone through, even when I think I've found a good solution for streaming traditional, I'm always kind of like, well, it could be a little better. It could be a little better. Whereas, you don't have to worry. Resolution on digital is so easy, You could, Jeremy, what I also do, hang on, I think I have them here. So it kind of depends on if you're looking, Jeremy, for like if you want a waterproof ink. You know, again, these water pens, they're cheap, they're nylon, and what I've done, let's see if I get this right. So I basically took an India ink and just watered it down to like a 30% wash, you know. And the nice thing is then, and we'll let that dry a bit. And then I have another one that's maybe more of a, like, you know, 70%. And it's just India ink and water. And what I like about it, see if that'll dry, is that then I can actually layer it on and kind of create some different effects that way. So you can try that. You know, I love using these just because I love the watermarks that you can get. Woo! Just want to make sure it doesn't leak out. Not that it really matters too much if it does. But, you know, when you just kind of let it start to dry and do its thing, you get some really lovely watermarks that way. So yeah, again, you have to make sure it's a color that you love, you know. Like, I love this ancient copper right here, which is a fountain pen ink, water soluble, you know. But I love this color, so I don't really get tired of it. Sometimes I get a little tired of like just staring at black. But let's pick up those heavier water dabs. You know, or if you want something that is water soluble, of course, just add some water to some fountain pen ink. Just make sure it's a color that you love. Yeah. Alright, on to the next one. Maybe I'll bring this over here out of my way. I might. Maybe do a little bit of pencil first. If I do a little more finished piece, I'll probably switch over to hot pressed watercolor paper, just because I love the way that the ink kind of sits on that stuff. And it's a little higher white, so if I want to lift the lines out, it's, you know, it's easier. But I don't know if I necessarily need pencil right now, but yeah, I'm like, man, debating what I'd want to do. I wouldn't mind maybe something. It's like kind of crouched a little bit. Like, but silhouette-wise, I don't know that that would be the most interesting. Like, it can be fun narratively, but from a silhouette standpoint, I feel like not always the best. As I said, I always change the side of her ponytail based on what works in the image. So I'll probably have her side tail over on that side. Sure I get that position right in terms of the where it is center. See, that's what I always do. I always put the heels up too high. And then I'll throw the weight off. It's one of those poses where I go long enough between drawing anything like it that then I forget what I learned the last time around. Right, I always want to make them like sitting more on their heels, and realistically you need those heels to be a little further down. Hello, Sarah Tan. How's it going? And welcome. Kind of doodling ideas for who knows what. Just make sure everything is facing the right direction. And again, so I don't tend to go super tight on my pencils. I don't know, I don't find it terribly interesting to do that. Unless there are like details that I really need to get. Cthulhu, right now I'm just sketching in a Moleskine, one of the Art Plus sketchbooks, so it has the heavier paper. Really, one of my favorite sketchbooks is the Etcher Labs hot pressed sketchbook, right? The little llama. But they're a little more expensive, and I'm not gonna use watercolor paper for like doodles per se. Cryo's probably napping. I'm debating which pen I want to go forward with. Brush pen or the fountain pen. I think the fountain pen for now. What? There she is. Hello. Hello. Really quick before we get into that, we can look at, have to be mindful though of what I can and can't show on stream here. Boobies, I can't show boobies, but you know, so watercolor paper will strategically crop. How about that? I love the watercolor paper on the Etcher Labs hot press sketchbook. Just gotta, or strategically cover. This was the cover for my book that was on Kickstarter. So yeah, I love a little bit of watercolor in there. They're not much. Can we see the is that gold catching any light? Little bit there. You can kind of see some of the gold ink. That's fun. That's fun. Gold ink is fun. Yeah, so I mean, you can see it just takes brush pen really beautifully. You know, just the marks that you can get on the slightly more texture and tooth. Love it, love it. A little bit of boobies. Don't kill me, Twitch. Don't kill me. You know, a very versatile paper. I would highly recommend it for anyone that likes working with ink. The Etcher Labs hot pressed sketchbook really like does a beautiful job. You know, like just I don't know. I can't really say enough about it because you can get these nice, beautiful, solid marks, and then these very textured, broken marks. You know, that are just so much fun to play with. Oh, more Cyber Elves. Cyber Elves! I think this stuff was all actually done on stream, so I know I can show it. Again, this was just playing around with like ink and watercolor. I was kind of curious about that. I like how this one turned out. This one went in the wrong direction. I thought I had it under control and totally didn't. It happens. Some random one. Angry drunk cyber elf. Yep, boobies. This one's cut off because Archer Kell has the other half of this. It was his birthday present. It was a little booty dryad. Yeah, so a lot of playing with like ink wash and stuff on this. I mean, it's watercolor paper, right? So basically this is the same technique that I've been doing in the Moleskine. It just with the textured paper, it takes the grain, the pigment of the ink shows up a little more, I think. But you know, it's still fantastic. And I love being able to just switch between like watercolor and ink and all that stuff. Super fun. My Lamia, my little Lamia, which I still really want to do a full painting of her and her Dryad friend. You know. Her in her undead armor. armor. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I think that's the last one in that book. So if I decide that I want to do something a little more finished, I'll probably swap over. But for now, we will continue with the doodles. 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 There we go. Etcher lab here. I will Etcher labs. Yeah, I mean, their books aren't cheap, but then you also want to consider that you're usually getting them in bundles is how they sell them. I think just because they're really well made. You know, they're not mass produced like Moleskine is now. They're high quality books. And so I think to make it worthwhile, they tend to sell them in bundles of 3. They run about the same price as a Moleskine, right? That was a hot pressed. They do make the cold press, but it's too textured for me, for what I do. So I would recommend the hot press, personally. That is a hectic link, huh? Yeah, there you go. So the one I have is the A4, which I would recommend. The A5 and A6 I think are just too small, personally. I like the A4. You know, but if you do, I mean, yeah, it's $100. You know, so they're 30 something a piece, but I don't know. I can delete it. You know, and I think the Moleskine, like this is also A4, and I think these run somewhere around $28 a piece or something like that. So, you know, $33 for a hot press watercolor book, and the paper is really awesome. Like, it takes any medium I can throw at it, whereas a lot of watercolor papers don't always take like the fountain pen inks that well. Something about them, a lot of times the fountain pen ink will bleed a lot and get all like hairy looking on the watercolor paper, but that etcher stuff, they don't. They look fantastic. So I would highly, highly recommend. Kind of torn between, yeah, we'll give her the little arms for the glasses. Why not? And again, you know, my philosophy with sketchbooks is the same as it is with pens. If it makes you want to pick it up and use it, it's worth it. What's the point of getting a sketchbook that you don't enjoy using? That is one of the biggest wastes of money, and believe me, I know. I've got a few. I tried to get Etcher to tell me what paper they use in their books, and they wouldn't. They kept like kind of skirting the question and just not really answering. They would answer all my other questions, but they wouldn't tell me who makes their paper. Because I was like, then at least put out a larger book, because if I want to do a larger finished piece, like, I love that paper and I would love to use it. but A4 is not big enough. So yeah, they they wouldn't tell me. Well, they're based in Australia, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure all their stuff they have made locally, and so there's a chance they may actually have the paper made specially for them, which is why they wouldn't want to. One of the reasons they might not want to tell me who makes it, because then I could contact them and be like, "Hey, I want some bigger sheets," you know? Because otherwise, my favorite watercolor paper is the stuff from St. Cuthbert's Mill, the Saunders Waterford paper. That one's my favorite watercolor paper as far as like the large, loose sheets that I can get. This is a Pilot Falcon. Specifically the Elabo, but modified by Mr. John Modishaw at nibs.com. And like the difference is that he added more flex to the nib, so I can get a broader range of marks with it. Because I am snooty like that, and sometimes too lazy to actually break out, you know, a steel nib and a inkwell and all that stuff. Sometimes I just like things to be a little more contained, you know? Can't help it. Okay, I have a patch on her arm, but I have not yet figured out what the hell it is, so we're just gonna doodle some shit in there and say that it's something. Now, so one of the things, what sucks is that you actually used to be able to get, Pilot used to ship out just the nibs if you wanted. And so what happened was I had bought a Pilot Elabo because reading up online, it was like pretty much one of the best fountain pens that you could get that had a flexible nib, right? And then later I found nibs.com, and I was like, oh my god, I could get a customized one that has more flex to it that's amazing. But what was great is I could actually order just the nib from them. So I didn't have to pay like the full price of a pen and the nib. Pilot no longer sells the nibs solo. So now it is a lot more expensive, to get it from nibs.com with the customization. Show us your nibs. I kind of like that. I can dig it. But yeah, so it kind of sucks that it is more expensive because they were already expensive to begin with, and now they're even more so. So then I feel bad if I try and tell people like, dude, it's worth it, but because it's expensive now. Like this pen now, like not only can you not get just a nib, because obviously you need a pen, so if you don't already have one, but the price of the pen has gone up too, and now I want to say this same pen will run you $75 to $100 more than when I got it. So that's a tough sell right there, even for me. So then it just kind of depends on like how much do you love fountain pens? Do you love them? I'm not gonna show you my nibs, guys. Stop asking. Do you want to see my nibs? I remember what I did for their shoes, and I totally don't remember. Yeah, for cleaning, I'm assuming you're talking about like the actual steel nibs, right? Because yeah, those will sometimes get some rust. Usually, like I'm trying to think, I can't tell if that's. I think that's ink. Most of the time, I feel like I don't get rust as long as I really thoroughly dry them. And I mean, honestly, I'll just kind of scrape them down a little bit. I don't tend to wash them too much. If I do, I will usually, it's kind of as I'm working, I'll dip them in water and just then wipe it off pretty thoroughly with a paper towel. And I don't tend to get a lot of rust on my nibs, but I mean, I live in Southern California and it's a desert down here, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But I've gotten rust on some of them. I have. Sometimes that just depends on the coating that is on there. And sometimes it just kind of depends on how well or poorly I dry them off. I want. What? Brush pen. Brush pen. Yay, brush pen. So, Cryo, this is that Kaime natural hair brush pen that I was telling you about. One thing I love is that it's a longer handle, similar to an actual paintbrush. And they just have a beautiful, it's natural hair, so it just has, it's not an over amount of flex to it, like the synthetic bristles sometimes get all a little crazy. What was that last song? I don't know, I have it on random. Let's see if it'll, this one, Chain by Ballpoint. Fitting for this stream, even though I'm not using a ballpoint. Chain by Ballpoint. Kaime. Oh, there. Ooh. Kaime. Here, I'll turn it right side up for you. Kaime. Now these will run usually around $30. But I mean, they last. The natural hair lasts much longer than synthetic, so that's one of the reasons that I like them. I put my own ink in. Like I said, this is the platinum carbon ink, so it is waterproof once it dries, which is fantastic. So then I can actually use it to like do line work and then do some watercolor over the top if I want. Well, now you got one more. So yeah, I love this. And again, I mean, the mark making, the variety of marks that you can get with this, you can get some really fine marks. And then you can get your nice big bold marks. You can get everywhere in between, right? So again, the benefits of the natural hair over synthetic is that control. The fact that you can actually, to a degree, you can kind of shape the brush a little bit, you know, based on what you want. Within limits, because the ink is constantly being fed. If this was like an actual Sumi brush, right? Funny you should mention it. I have one right here. With an actual Sumi brush, of course, the benefit, again, natural hair, but the benefit of these is that you can really, like, they're meant to be able to form and get some different kinds of marks. I don't know if I don't really have a good ink for this right now, but you know, meant to be able to get some really, really fine marks. And I show you. You can just use this shit as a palette sometimes. So of course you can get, again, super fine marks with a legit Sumi pen. But then you can also shape it and get some other kinds of marks, right? Which is the benefit of the actual brush. So if you haven't messed around with Sumi brushes, I also recommend that, because they are a lot of fun. If you want to see someone who is really good, I mean, he doesn't live stream, unfortunately, except on special occasions, I think, but Nicholas Namiri, holy crap, man, that guy uses Sumi brushes to, like, the full extent of the law. He's a badass. I feel like he's kind of in the vein of Yoshitaka Amano. Different, but similar. I hate saying that, but it's true. Like there are definite similarities. And he's a French guy, but clearly so. Hey, thanks for the follow, Genek X. Yeah, Nicholas Namiri, man, holy crap, so good. His mark making is just, whew. And a super nice guy. I bought one of his books from him at CTN 2 or 3 years ago, and he did this beautiful drawing in it. It's just like, what? Are you kidding? I wonder if I have it here. I might. Hang on, because you guys gotta see this. Un momento. Let me check. So his book, that's the cover of his book, which is just awesome. And then he did, let's see, is it in the back? Oh yeah. Yeah, and so then he did this drawing in the back for me with this like gold and black ink. And it's just so cool. I love it. Yeah, he's a badass. I would highly, highly, highly recommend this book to anyone. I should be careful because he definitely does some not safe for Twitch stuff, but I mean, come on, so good, so good. Damn you, Nicholas. Namiri. There, Nicholas Namiri. Get it, get it. Super nice guy. Doesn't speak a lot of English. It was funny because, so like, I think I'd started following him kind of before he had garnered much of a following. He's now part of the Super Annie crew, right, with Kim Jong-ji and all those cats, all those badasses. And I'd started following him kind of before that, so then he had followed me back, you know, and so we've had exchanges and stuff on Instagram, but I think he didn't know what I looked like in person, so when when he was asking like who to make it out to, and so then I showed him my Instagram profile, and then he was like, oh, but he couldn't quite speak English, so all he could do is kind of point at my phone and then point at me and point at my phone and point at me, and showing that he knew who I was. It's like, okay. But I've noticed that some of those European artists, man, when they get really into like the more kind of Asian influence, man, they do some awesome stuff, you know. And it's so cool to see that mix of kind of cultures where you can see that they really love whatever kind of style they're pulling from, whether it's anime or something else. And you can see that they love it, and yet then there's also something kind of different because of their European influence and European training. So I always love seeing that kind of mix of awesomeness. So, trying to think, I might do, maybe we'll do a little bit of, are you coming? Yeah. Let's do a little bit of the India ink wash, I think, but I'll let that dry a little bit, because the platinum is waterproof, but you want to let it dry a bit. You don't want to go too crazy. Also, she needs her, my pens is coming unscrewed. Hey Cthulhu, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the talks. Did they rename the group? Wait, sorry, I was ranting. Sometimes I notice I'll end up ranting a little too long about stuff, and then I look at chat, and then I'm lost as to what we're referencing. I need like a shock collar or something, so that when people need me to like look up, then I'll be like, oh, sorry. Kidding. Don't get me a shock collar. That would be mean. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know, it's so weird, right? I'm like, just call it one thing. Like, it's social media. We're all international. Like, we don't need a separate thing for the US, but maybe they do. Obviously in the US ones they'll post in English, right? But still, it's annoying because sometimes they'll post different things on their accounts. I'm just like, man, I don't want to have to follow every single one. That's annoying. Just stop. Yeah, so like Evan Amundsen is part of that crew now. I don't know if Eliza is. I feel like maybe she is. They've been kind of pimping her stuff quite a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised. She deserves it. She is a supreme badass. One little typo, right? One little typo and it takes you into a completely different world. World not for the faint of heart. So this is just that 30% India ink, right? So just India ink, just way watered down. For this mixture, I would recommend starting with water and adding ink slowly, because I went the other way and I had to keep switching jars to get... I was like, holy crap, you underestimate how strong that ink is. And this is just a cheap water pen, but it's great for this because I don't have to worry about like damaging it or something, you know. Autumn, you and me both, probably. Hey, part of the moderator's role is to also, you know, keep the streamer in check. So sometimes you gotta instigate. This is just a Moleskine though, dude. You could do this if you have a Moleskine sketchbook. You could, you know, do it in that. As long as it's not the super thin paper stuff. Hello, Aurelia! Wait, whose stream did I see you in earlier today? I saw you in... Was it in Cryo's stream? Okay, yeah. Nice. Well, welcome. Welcome. I appreciate you hopping in to my little ink doodle stream. We're like doing multimedia inks today. Got India ink, we've got carbon ink, we have fountain pen ink, fountain pens, brush pens, water. So one of the things I like with like this light wash is being able to layer it and create different kinds of marks, which I think is a lot of fun. By the way. Oh, thank you. Probably. Well, we haven't done any acrylic inks. I actually don't even know. No, I do have some acrylic ink that I'd gotten with the intention of doing some airbrush stuff that I never did. Because what is this? 1993? Airbrush. Hey, you want to join my group super... Wait, what's it called? I almost feel like it's a little too easy to noodle with this though, because you can just kind of keep going and be like, maybe a little more, maybe a little more. So I am gonna switch over. So I have another one that has a darker wash on it, just knowing that I want to go a little darker in some of these areas. It's like a 60% wash, 60 or 70% versus like a 30. It's fun. But then when I get marks like on the, let's see, up close, like on the glasses, those watermarks, that's where I'm like, okay, I don't want to touch that ever. Just gonna leave it as is, because I love those kinds of marks. I'm a sucker for it. Yeah, like I can't get enough. I don't know if I have. I honestly don't have any clue what's in this book. You know, I started bouncing around so much between books, thumbnails. We have thumbnails. Lots of thumbnails. Yeah, like on her hair. On her hair. I love those watermarks. So much fun. So much fun. So much fun. Yeah, I started bouncing around so much between like different books and different mediums that I like, or I have to always look before I actually turn the page to make sure, you know, it's something I can show. I really don't use a lot of pencil in my sketchbook anymore. Little mechs. Oh, look at our little pink mech. Cute. They won't ding me for that, right? Puritan bastards. That stuff they might. That stuff they might. So this was that little. This was actually the initial little thumbnail for the cover for my book. More gold ink, by the way. Wee, wee. So FYI, Dr. P.H. Martin makes. Can I reach it? I got it. Makes some iridescent India inks, which is awesome. So they're watercolor when they dry, right? There's copper plate gold, which is fantastic, which I think might be this one. And then this is the nickel. And this is their iridescent black, right? That's cool. I actually mixed some of this with some India ink to get a little darker one, which is pretty rad. I gotta say, there is a black iridescent. Called Black Sparkle, which was not my nickname in high school, actually. Oh yeah, so you can kind of see it. So that one there is the iridescent mixed. I think I mixed it with black and a little bit of nickel just to get a little darker. So I was like, this is too cool. I gotta do something with it. But yeah, for anyone new, let's see. I gotta be careful because, you know, they'll ding me. So strategically placed thumb. So this is the thumbnail that I'd done for this one, right? Which is the cover of my book. Strategically placed thumb. Sorry, everyone. Yeah. So that's usually like how I'll start, is doing those little thumbs. Little thumbs, and then you might be able to see, we might be able to see some of the, that gold ink on there, right? Get a little bit of sparkle in there, right? Whee, whee. Scared for waterproof metallics. I thought that was cool. And it's true, I geek out on materials, even at work. Yeah, and then I didn't realize how many cyber elves I drew in this one. This was like the beginning. I feel like these days I'm stylizing them a little bit more, but this was kind of before that, I guess. And then I started kind of playing with their stylization and attitude and all that shit. All that good shit. Actually kind of like that pose. Right, or three girls. All kind of 80s out in their own way. Oh yeah, so that's the prelim for the print. That was on Kickstarter exclusive print. Now I don't know if I put it up anywhere for people to see. Did I? I don't think I did. It's a fun mix, I have to say. Hang on, I feel like I did put sort of. I didn't like. Here we go. You guys can at least see on Insta where. My cursor will show up. Curse you, cursor! So where this ended up going, if you click through, you'll see the whole thing. And that was an exclusive print on Kickstarter for my book back in July. But now I feel bad because people really like it, and so I'm like, shit, well, I should do another piece that's not exclusive to the Kickstarter campaign. So originally I was going to do 2 prints, right? That worked as a diptych. So because I thought it'd be kind of cool, like, have them slightly separated, you know? But then I was like, no. I want more options for the prints. So I ended up making them one A4 size. I'm like, is it safe? Is it safe? Little expressions. Oh yeah. Doing this to see which one I liked. You know, that's the thing, sometimes when I draw straight in ink, right, with no pencil, then I like to kind of try something several times to see what kinds of different marks I can get. I think this one actually ended up being my favorite. Mostly because that tail, I was just like, yeah, that's it. That's it. Not gonna top it. So, cool. Or wait, was that? Nope. That one was, I think. Shit. I like them both. But I think I liked that energy in there. I think that was it. Nope. God damn it. Sorry. Oh my god. That was it. That was it. I think I did that one. It's like, okay, I'm done. I love it. And then I didn't end up using it for anything. Nope, can't show. Not safe for stream. Those are fine. Faces. Faces, faces. Anyway, we can... How long have I been... How long I've been streaming? And where's my stream? 2:45. Yeah, I like doing both, to be honest. I feel like there's a lot of fun in doing, you know, stuff that is like really detailed. I have to say. Oh, this was the prelim stuff, right? For the shirt that I'm wearing now. But this one, for her. More prelims. There were a couple little things that I liked. I think I liked the gesture in this one, and I really liked the gesture in this one, and I know I end up wanting, like, trying to capture that one the most, though I think, I don't know, there are some little differences that I kind of miss, but oh well. Whoa, definitely can't show that. Hardcover is not stream friendly. But yeah, so I don't know. I think there's something to drawing like straightened pen that can have a really nice simplicity, and then you can kind of start to add to it all you want, which is a lot of fun. So maybe we'll do one more pen drawing. Right. More Lamia stuff, which is a lot of fun. Pen and water. I imagined her chilling, just like reading a book, and her big kitty sidekick is hanging out. Can't really see anything in these. Thumbnails, roughs, thumbs, I don't know. More. Yeah, I don't know when this turned into a sketchbook tour, but that's cool. I'm okay with it. Ah, one of my wicked little witches that I never finished. I like drawing these witches in like lingerie cat suits and stuff, surfing on brooms. Because, you know, why not? Oh my god, some pencil. Look, I have pencil. Pencil. I do pencil sometimes. Yeah, and then we're into today's work. Woo! Wee. No, I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with going detailed. I love like going a lot more detailed at times myself. Um, you know, I feel like it just kind of it speaks to a different side of us as artists, you know, and I think that stuff's pretty fun. I'm debating if I want to do a little bit larger piece, maybe, but we'll see. Yeah, like for like finished pieces, I love going really detailed. I think it's a ton of fun. Sometimes what happens if I do like a simpler piece, then I'll finish it and I'm like, oh, it's done already? But wait, is it done? That was so fast. Is it really done? You know, and I'll second guess myself. So everybody squeeze. Good evening, Inkwell. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? Hey, Matt Toko. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Hey, thanks for the follow, DK Flames. so torn. Actually kind of want her to have like a popped collar. Hate these elastic bands sometimes. On the moleskins, they'll like get caught when you're trying to do fluid marks. Decay Flames. I honestly, I wouldn't even know how to answer that. Yeah, I, you're not the first one to ask. Especially when it comes to like when I do pencil stuff, like people will ask like, "Oh, what's the name of this technique?" And I don't even know. I mean, it really is. It's just illustration, as far as I can tell, because most of my influences are illustrators. So I couldn't really say what style it is. Bedtime is starting soon. Thanks, phone. You know, like my influences. I really don't need to fill in the rest of her face, so let's not fuck it up. My influences vary from like old school fine artists to, you know, to illustrators, and I love all of them, and I try and sort of look at all of it in the same way and kind of take from all of it a bit, at least, you know, try and learn something from all of it. So yeah, I don't know. That's a puzzler. Have no answers for you, Frodo. But what she does maybe need, actually. So this is where I'll use like the smaller pen. One, I want to get some of that, but I'll use it for the hair. Basically, what my thought process for a lot of sketches that I do is that I want to try and get ideally like 3 levels of interest in a sketch. You know, it doesn't matter how rough it is. So I'll have the bold shapes, and then I'll have some of the smaller shapes, right, smaller lines, and then I'll get some really small lines, just something to pull us in like even more, especially for anyone that might see it in person or something. So that's usually kind of what I'm thinking about with my sketches. And so usually that involves probably using 2 different tools for a piece, even if one of them is like this, where I'm just barely doing stuff, but it's just like another layer of detail that to me kind of helps it feel, I don't know, complete, I guess. You complete me. This is the tale, Captain Jack Sparrow. Damn it, now Michael Bolton is gonna be stuck in my head. Hey, Joby, what's up, man? How you doing? We're like kind of just doing doodles tonight. Whatever comes to mind. Cyber elves, which I've been on a tear with of late. Yes. All right, brother. We will catch you tomorrow. Doodles are the best. I don't really think I would do anything more to her. The only thing I might consider is doing some color accents, which could be kind of fun. We could get crazy and we'll see. I'll pull out my pens and debate. So I'd mentioned that Etcher sketchbook before. I love their field case, right? The Etcher field case. I use the hell out of this thing. It has gone with me to Prague, to France twice, to Italy, to the Caribbean, to Tahiti, to Mexico. Absolutely love this thing. So I would highly recommend this for a travel companion, I gotta say. Well, we could go debating orange or blue. Maybe I'm in a blue mood. So this is one of the few times I'll use like the synthetic bristles, just because like you can't get these colors and with a natural hair pen. Like they don't make these colors for that. But let's see what this. I kind of dig. This is like an electric blue. It's kind of cool. Could be fun. I would just put it on her jacket, not on her. I would just use it as an accent. So that's what I'm thinking here. Joby, were you streaming before? I would say I love all my pens equally, but that would be a lie. I love my first Pilot Elabo the most. And the Kaime natural hair brush pen second. There. That's all she needed. A little bit of blue. A little bit of blue. No need to go overboard. All right, on. Yeah, Joby, when do you stream next? Inquiring minds want to know. Also, we did these earlier. Wow, this page really got experimental, didn't it? And then we started with these. And then had a few sidebars to flip through sketchbooks. We must know these things. See if I had another book to flip through before the end. But I really don't know what's in this book. But maybe if we go carefully, we can keep it safe. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. Let's see. Let's see. I actually make it a point to flip through old sketchbooks. Because I will just like jot things down, you know, really quick, like just ideas. And sometimes they're a really good idea, but I'll forget about them because I jot them down and then, you know, out of sight, out of mind, on to the next one. And so I make it a point. I have to, you know, go through carefully because I do plenty of stuff that is super not safe for work. And you know, a constant theme: warrior women and big cats. I'm a Frazetta fan. Frazetta, he's another one. Love his ink work and his watercolors. His oils are great, but his, you could tell his heart was in the inks and the watercolors. But just, it looks like weird chicken scratch. I have this image from a story that I'm working on of this witch that like sits in this crazy, sort of based on a banyan tree, but probably can't say. No nipple here. No nipple here. Wicked little witch. Wicked little witch. More wicked little witches that I can't censor. Witches. She's technically censored, right? Show the nibs. Look, there's my nib. I draw what I want. How does this pen write? Me likey. More random faces, which I'll sometimes do just to like get stuff out and get my hand, you know, hopefully working in some way, shape, or form. I'll do stuff to kind of play around with different marks, and who knows where it'll take me. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. Thought starters, random post-apocalypse. Girls in big hats. I think these were considering doing like a small oil painting, and I was trying to figure it out, but everything felt kind of boring for that, like not really worth painting. Can't go too close on those because I'll probably get in trouble. Redesigning characters briefly before we put the project on hold. Hey, thanks for the follow. Yammy the Golden 389. What I can do, look, more gold ink. Yeah, sexy gold ink. I do like getting into some of these where it's more about like kind of graphic design. I think that's a lot of fun. Oh, I guess I can show some of these other pages, huh? I was playing with potential face, asking them like how stylized would we want to go, right? Of course, they're like, not too stylized. Like, fine, we'll stick in this realm. It's playing with angles and stuff, potentially. More big hats, but going a little minimalist, seeing what I could get away with. Which is fun. You know, it's fun to do those organic. I faltered right there. I was like, damn it, if I could have just gotten around the bend, it would have been so dope. More thumbs. Again, this is my preferred way of thumbnailing these days is in ink. Ink and water. It's a lot of fun. So this is, where is she? That is the prelim, right? These were the prelims here. For this watercolor piece that I've done. Right? So India ink and watercolor on a, who is it? Trekell, I think, makes these, this is hot press watercolor paper mounted on birch. Like, that's cool. So I got a couple of these panels. I was like, I gotta do something cool with these. So this was the beginning of doing something cool with those. Yeah, but you know, that's where it started. with the little doodle, and I think this is walnut ink actually, which is pretty water soluble. I think that was walnut ink. That might have been watered down. Watered down India ink. Hey, leave the pillow alone. My cat, sometimes she just wants to get my attention, so she scratches on shit she knows she shouldn't. Roughs, Doodles. Can I might be able to show, maybe. Let me check. Those I can show. I can't really show the other page though. Yeah, more thumbs, more thumbs. Playing around with this character that is like, instead of like a fawn, right? Where Trekel, Joby Trekel is the here, I'll type it in. Oh, I have cat dragons, kind of. Trekel is the brand. Yeah, I don't know if I have any in this book. But so I have this character who's like, you know, where a fawn would have like goat legs, she has a cattail and cat legs. And then she's got these two like black panthers that she chills with. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with that character, but I like her as a character. Booty, you can't see that. You're not allowed. Ooh, super not allowed to see that. Fairy booty. Wee, happy fairy. Oh, random mech stuff. Mechy, techie shit. More mech, techie stuff. I don't do a lot of this, like vehicles and stuff, but I had some ideas that I wanted to kind of jot down, so I did. I don't, but I like that idea. Playing around with ballpoint pen, and then some of these high-tech C mica gel pens. I like these for adding the little color accents. Random thumbnails. But Cryo, you mentioned cat dragons. I have no idea if this will show up, right? Will my iPad screen, you think, will the camera do okay with that? Let's find out. Wait. Let's do it this way. Cat dragon. Cat dragon. And she is offering a sacred flame. She's like a weird bunny falcon creature. Yeah. So, I got you covered. You can name it. I have not named it. And I have these others in this world too, some that are more based on wolves and some smaller that are like based on foxes. This is like the biggest one based on a tiger, but then there are some smaller cat ones as well that are like more panthers and stuff. Only if he can have James Earl Jones's voice then, because it's the only way that he can get away with a name like Earl. Earl the Great. Okay. Alright. I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, so, right, this is where our magentas were. This was all Procreate, this one, by the way. Or girls. There's Quinn. Oops, I should not make a mark with that. With her Lennons and her side tail and her windbreaker, all 80s out. And then Manga, named for manganese blue. Yeah. Yeah. Those are girls. Our cyber elf girls, who I've yet to really figure out a story for, but working on it. Anyway. And Queen. Okay, David Attenborough. All right. I'd go for that too. Okay, my friends, I probably should think about getting to bed because I do need to work in the morning. We'll say bye to Earl. Maybe if we want, we can videos like, wait, what? You want me to do what? I don't think we'll sit through the whole time lapse. This will be like 15 minutes. So let's speed. Drawing. Tighter drawing. Underpainting. Starting to work on those values back there. Value grouping in general, I guess. What do I do? Yeah, just threw in that reflection. Painting some trees. It's always fun. So I based her, by the way, her markings on a goshawk, because they're one of the most agile, if you've ever seen them. Fly, they're amazing, and their tail is so broad it acts as a third wing, so they can just like fly through the smallest opening between the trees. So that's what I based her on, and it goes with the whole like white tiger kind of deal, right? Whee! Lighting, more lighting. Okay, put the lighting away, get our values right. Back to the lighting, rim lights. Whee! Atmosphere. Details on her. Fine tuning, right? Just fine tuning the atmosphere back there. Little details. Hot light bleeds. All that. Yeah, that would have been like a 21 minute. There. Alright. Done. All right, my friends. My friends, Cryo, thank you for hanging out. Aurelia, thank you for hanging out. Syntax Rigger, thank you. Joby, I'm glad you stopped by. Yeah, good to see everyone in chat. Well, see everyone, you guys stream, Thank you so much. I'm actually going to be back on tomorrow night, just FYI, 7 p.m. It should be right around there. It might be a little bit later, to be honest. It might be closer to 7:30, but I'm going to be back on. No idea what I'm going to be doing. I make this shit up as I go, so we'll see. We'll see what mood I'm in. All right, everybody. Until tomorrow, or until next time. It will also be back Monday, 7 p.m. Mondays and Thursdays generally. So hopefully I will see all of you soon. And maybe, hopefully I can catch some of your streams as well, because that's also fun. All right.